I remember sitting in Grandma Evelyn's old living room, the scent of lavender still clinging to the air like she was just there. The lawyer's voice was calm, too calm. The house will go to Tyler Jameson. My 19-year-old cousin grinned, running his hand along the mahogany table like he already owned the place. Then the lawyer turned to me. And to you, Claire, she leaves this. He slid a small, worn velvet box across the table. Inside was her old silver wristwatch, the glass cracked, the second hand stuck at 417. I felt my chest tighten. A lifetime of Sunday dinners, handmade birthday cards, the way she called me her sunshine girl. And this was all I got. Tyler clutched the house keys like they were made of gold. I clutched a piece of metal that didn't even tick anymore. Have you ever realized, in one awful moment, that your family didn't value you the way you thought they did? Growing up, Grandma Evelyn's house felt like magic. It was a white, two-story home on Willow Creek Lane with green shutters and a porch swing that creaked whenever you leaned too far back. Every summer, I'd spend weeks there, waking up to the smell of cinnamon rolls and her soft humming in the kitchen. She'd always greet me the same way, arms wide, voice full of sunshine. There's my Claire Bear. We had our rituals. On Saturdays, we'd bake pies from scratch, apple in the fall, blueberry in the summer. She'd let me roll the dough, even though I made a mess, and I'd steal spoonfuls of filling when she wasn't looking. She taught me to sew on her old Singer machine, the kind that made a rhythmic click-clack sound. My first project was a crooked little pillow with uneven stitches, but she used it on her couch for years like it was a designer piece. At night, we'd sit on the porch swing and she'd tell me stories, not fairy tales, but family history. She'd talk about her own childhood during the war, how she met Grandpa at a county fair, how they built the Willow Creek house brick by brick. Tyler was there sometimes, but not often. He was younger than me by 5 years, and even as a kid, he seemed restless at Grandma's. He'd complain about being bored, bury himself in video games, and roll his eyes when she tried to talk to him. I, on the other hand, soaked up every moment. One Christmas, when I was 12, she gave me a delicate gold locket with a tiny photo of her and Grandpa inside. One day, she said, "You'll have more than just my things. You'll have my heart." I never forgot that. As I got older, I helped her more, mowing the lawn in the summer, shoveling snow in the winter, driving her to doctor's appointments when she didn't trust herself behind the wheel anymore. We weren't just grandmother and granddaughter. We were best friends. And maybe that's why I never even considered the possibility that, when she was gone, I wouldn't be the one holding the keys to the house we built our memories in. It started small, so small I almost didn't notice. About 2 years before Grandma passed, she began inviting Tyler over more often. At first, I thought it was sweet. He was in high school then, a little lost, and maybe she wanted to help him find his way. But soon, I started hearing little comments during family dinners. "Tyler's such a big help around the house," Aunt Linda would say. "He's been keeping Grandma company so much lately," my mom would add. I'd blink, confused. I'd been there the weekend before, fixing her leaky kitchen faucet and taking her grocery shopping, but no one mentioned that. One afternoon, I stopped by unannounced with her favorite lemon bars. Tyler's car was in the driveway. I knocked, and he opened the door, looking startled. Hey," he muttered, blocking the hallway. "Grandma's resting." I heard her voice from the living room. "Who is it?" I stepped past him and smiled. "It's me, Grandma." Her face lit up, but there was something tired in her eyes. And the living room looked different. New recliner, fresh coat of paint. "Tyler's been helping me redecorate," she said. The next few months, it was like Tyler had become the star of every family conversation. He was responsible. He was so good with Grandma. He understood what she needed. Once, at a barbecue, I overheard Aunt Linda talking to my mom. "You know, Tyler's practically like a son to Evelyn. He's always there for her." The words hit me harder than I expected. I wanted to ask, what am I, then? A visitor? Still, I brushed it off. Grandma and I had a history that went deeper than anything. One restless teenager couldn't change that. Or, at least, that's what I told myself. Grandma Evelyn passed on a Tuesday morning in early spring. The cherry blossoms were blooming outside her bedroom window, and for a moment, the world felt too beautiful for such a cruel day. The funeral was quiet, the way she would have wanted. No long speeches, no fuss. Just hymns, a few prayers, and the smell of lilies everywhere. A week later, we all gathered at Mr. Harlan's office, Grandma's attorney. His desk was heavy oak, the kind that made you feel small just sitting across from it. I sat between my mom and Aunt Linda, my hands folded tightly in my lap. Tyler slouched in his chair, scrolling on his phone until Mr. Harlan cleared his throat. "I have here the last will and testament of Evelyn Mae Jameson," he began, adjusting his glasses. "As per her wishes, her estate will be divided as follows. The first part was simple, small bequest to charity, a few keepsakes to friends." Then he looked right at Tyler. "To my grandson, Tyler Jameson, I leave my home at 412 Willow Creek Lane, including all its contents, free of mortgage." Tyler's head shot up. He smirked, like he'd just won a prize. My heart pounded in my ears. "The house?" Then Mr. Harlan turned to me. "And to my granddaughter, Claire, I leave my silver wristwatch. May it remind you of the time we shared." He slid the small velvet box toward me. My fingers felt cold as I opened it. The glass was cracked. The second hand was stuck. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. A lifetime of love, the hours I'd spent by her side, the promises she'd made, and I got something that didn't even work. I glanced at my mom, expecting shock, maybe outrage. She just looked awkward. Tyler twirled the house keys around his finger, grinning at Aunt Linda. I swallowed hard, the taste of metal in my mouth. In that moment, sitting under the hum of the attorney's ceiling fan, I realized maybe I was never the granddaughter she saw as family in the way I thought. I didn't say anything that day in the lawyer's office. I just closed the little velvet box and put it in my purse. But the silence burned. 3 days later, I invited my mom, Aunt Linda, and Tyler over to Grandma's kitchen, my grandma's kitchen, for coffee. The house still smelled like her vanilla candles, and every creak in the floor made me expect her to come around the corner. We sat at the same oak table where I'd eaten hundreds of Sunday dinners. I placed the broken watch in the center. "So," I began, my voice steady, "I want to understand something." Aunt Linda shifted uncomfortably. Tyler sipped his coffee like he had nothing to do with it. "I was there for Grandma every week," I said. "I took her to her doctor's appointments, fixed her house, stayed with her after her surgery. And yet she left me this." I tapped the watch, while Tyler got everything. My mom sighed. "Claire, don't make this about." "Don't make it about what?" I cut in. "About the fact that no one thought I'd notice? That you all acted like I didn't exist while Tyler played the role of golden boy for a year and a half." Tyler shrugged. "It's not my fault she liked me better." The words hit me like a slap. I picked up the watch, feeling its weight in my palm. Then, slowly, I set it down on the table in front of him. "You can have this too," I said quietly. "Because I'm done pretending this family values me. Keep the house, keep the watch, keep all of it. I won't be begging for scraps of affection anymore." The room went silent. Aunt Linda's eyes darted to my mom, but neither spoke. I stood, grabbed my coat, and walked out, the spring air cold against my face, but my chest lighter than it had been in weeks. For the first time, I wasn't holding on to what they decided I didn't deserve. The days after that confrontation were quiet. Too quiet. No calls from my mom. No texts from Aunt Linda. Tyler blocked me on social media, like I'd stolen his inheritance instead of the other way around. At first, the silence hurt more than I wanted to admit. I kept replaying the moment in the lawyer's office, wondering if I'd missed some hidden reason, something Grandma had told them but not me. But the more I thought about it, the more patterns I saw. When I was 9, my mom missed my school play because she was helping Aunt Linda set up Tyler's birthday party. When I was 15, I got straight A's, but all anyone talked about at dinner was how Tyler made the varsity football team. When I graduated college, they didn't even throw me a celebration, but when Tyler got his community college certificate, they rented a banquet hall. It had always been there. I'd just chosen not to see it. A few people did reach out, My friend Melissa brought over Chinese takeout one night, and my coworker James left a little potted plant on my desk with a sticky note. Proud of you for standing up for yourself. But most of the people I'd called family stayed gone. I visited Grandma's grave alone that month. I knelt down, tracing her name with my fingers. I don't know why you did it, I whispered. But I hope you knew I loved you no matter what. The wind was cold, and the grass still damp from morning rain. Walking back to my car, I realized this wasn't just grief for losing her. It was grief for losing the version of my family I thought existed, the one that would stand by me, value me, and see me as more than an afterthought. And maybe that was a loss I needed to finally face. It's been 6 months since that day in Grandma's kitchen. I thought I'd feel empty without my family's presence, but instead, I feel lighter. I started therapy. The first session, I cried for almost the entire hour, telling my therapist about the watch, the house, and every small slight that had piled up over the years. She listened, then said something I'll never forget. Sometimes, the family you're born into is not the family that will protect your heart. So I began creating my own circle. Melissa, my friend since college, started coming over every Friday night. James introduced me to his sister, and now the 3 of us volunteer once a month at the community center. I took on more shifts at work, saved aggressively, and last week I put in an offer for a little townhouse on the edge of the city. It's nothing like Grandma's Willow Creek home, but it's mine. The broken watch still sits on my dresser. I don't hate it anymore. I don't even think of it as less than the house. To me, it's a reminder, love can't be measured in property deeds or heirlooms. And my worth? That's not something anyone gets to assign to me. I've stopped chasing the people who don't see me. Now I pour into the ones who do. And somehow, that feels like the truest inheritance of all. If you've listened this far, maybe you've been where I've been. Maybe you've sat in a room with people you thought loved you, only to realize you were never on their list of priorities. Maybe you've walked away with less than you deserved, not just in money or property, but in respect, in love, in loyalty. If that's you, I need you to hear me. You are not less. Family is not just blood. Family is who shows up when it matters. It's the friend who calls when you're sick, the neighbor who drops off soup when you're too tired to cook, the coworker who notices when you're struggling. Don't measure your worth by the size of the inheritance, or the attention, or the seat at the table you're given. Measure it by the way you keep going, by the people who choose you every single day. If you've ever been cut out, overlooked, or made to feel small, share your story in the comments. There's someone out there who needs to know they're not alone. And if you believe love matters more than what's written in a will, hit like, subscribe, and keep building the kind of family you deserve. Because in the end, the house, the watch, the stuff, it all fades. But the people who truly value you, they're the real legacy.